Well, the day has come. Tom's put out his first solo release, firmly cementing the tombstone on top of his relationship with Blink-182. The title is about as messy as this situation is. To the stars, demos, odds, and ends. Now, the band's turmoil may have been the big discussion leading up to this release, but for me, the controversy's only just begun. But first, let's get to the music. We have 8 songs, so let's go one by one. It's dark, angry, and possibly, most likely, definitely about the Blink breakup. Musically, it sounds like something that I think would have fit very well on Dogs Eating Dogs. It's aggressive, it's full of tension and foreboding, and lyrically, this is Tom saying, I'm the hero of this journey, with the wisdom to notice this will not go well for anyone involved, and the strength to carry through the hailstorm of negativity that lies ahead. This is my favorite of the demos. The mood says early Blink-182 and the sounds say Dreamwalker. Most likely what happened is this song was made during the production of the Dreamwalker and it landed in a sonic limbo where Tom thought he couldn't put it on the Dreamwalker because it didn't fit the vibe of that album, and yet since it has all the sounds that he used in the Dreamwalker, it couldn't really be given to Blink. Listening to this song feels like you're speeding down the highway on a sunny day with perfect weather. I dare you not to feel good listening to that pre-chorus, chorus combo. In topic, Suburban Kings is a companion piece to Rite of Spring from My Empire. Rite of Spring began telling the story of how Tom's broken home and decision to start a punk rock band led him to where he is today. Suburban Kings brings a little more details into the story, a little more color to it, and when the chorus hits, it brings a very mythological sense of grandeur. Grandeur? Grandeur? Grandeur. Grandeur. I'm not too crazy about the music in the verses, but what I did like is what Tom did with the chorus. That big kind of anthemic release of it, mixed with the naming of these Suburban Kings, really adds that layer of a kind of mythology and folklore to this Californian punk rock universe he grew up in. And I found that pretty cool. It sounds like he's singing to a lot of things, to his past, his old friends, his younger self, and probably all those people he grew up with whose lives may have turned out less than epic. Now, the most interesting thing about this song for me is the juxtaposition of Tom singing about his punk rock origins in a song that couldn't sound less like Blink and even less like traditional punk rock. That aspect to me speaks more about Tom's life than Tom's descriptions of his early days. You really get a sense of the time that has passed for Tom when you hear the sounds in this song and notice how far removed they are from the sound of a Mesa Boogie amp cranked to 10. A Tom DeLonge track with an acoustic guitar has never failed me, and this one is no exception. It's a boxcar combo of acoustic guitar and heavy mood, but he's still stomping new ground because he's bringing in this Bob Dylan-y folk rock guitar strum pattern, which I like. He sings through the eyes of his brother in this track, and the idea of a family member trying to get in the head of another family member is a really kind of intimate, complex relationship to put out for public consumption and judgment. And it's one of the song's strong suits. The second companion piece song in this list, this one of course to my first punk song off of Boxcar Racer. The song's got a great energy and I'm sure it's a favorite of a lot of people. And that being said, I think I still prefer the anxious desperation of my first punk song over this one. Still a welcome tune though. I have no problem with instrumental releases, but I do have a problem with when they come across as fillers. And on a release with so few tracks, a filler song is kind of a crime. I feel like I've already come across this song a few times in Angels and Airwaves' Love Project, and again in the Angels song Diary. And that's the main problem for me. While a lot of people won't care and they'll just say, hey, whatever, it's a little bit of variety, it's an instrumental piece. To me, this song doesn't have its own identity. And a song that can't stand on its own doesn't deserve to be one of 8 tracks. There's only 8. There's no room for rehashing other stuff. Redemption! And it's all thanks to the verses. New ground is found here. The verse vocals show a slight change in Tom's singing delivery. The way he ends the words is a little bit different than the way he usually does it. It's a little bit more kind of like what you'd imagine an 89-year-old person would be thinking of when they say, now that's singing right there. He knows how to sing. My old people sound like ghouls. But the new ground I'm talking about isn't the vocals, it's the music. And the beginning of this song sounds like something that could play in a heist flick. I don't know, like it could be in Ocean's 11. Completely new vibe for Tom. The strumming pattern combined with the chord choices and the arrangement gives it this really mysterious, dare I say, sexy European vibe. And I know sexy. Have you met my stuffed dog, Sexy? Say hi, Sexy. It's fun, it's catchy, it's gross, it's funny, it's everything that a lot of fans have been begging for 10 years, and it would have been better off being called The Rock Show, Judgment Day. There's a speedy intro guitar riff that sounds like a new composition and then it just drops you into The Rock Show. Super fun, catchy main riff, The Rock Show. The hooky beginning of the chorus, same rhythm as The Rock Show. The song is not a carbon copy. There are a lot of non-rock show elements in the song, but still, way too many elements of an older song can be found here. To me, that calls too much attention to itself. It distracts from the song, and no matter how much work you put into it, it will make your songwriting look lazy. If you've seen my other videos, you know this is not the first time I've spoken about Tom using older material in brand new songs, but I hope it's the last time. He really showed growth as a songwriter with the Dreamwalker album, and I really hope he continues along that path. And I think this rehashing of old material is really a result of Tom having more musical projects on his plate than he could take for a few years now. So in the end, who knows, maybe the situation will be a benefit to his songwriting. The depressing bit about this song for some fans will be that this song was most likely going to be a kind of homecoming for Blink. And for those fans who can look past all the, let's call it borrowing from The Rock Show, it will be fun. But we all know it would have been 10 times more satisfying on a Blink-182 record, because, it would have been more of a celebration with the whole, family there, or whatever. Plus, I like to think that Mark and Travis would have chimed in after hearing The Rock Show melody and maybe helped create something from scratch. There's reasons to like the song. It's absolutely fun, it's incredibly catchy. Unfortunately, too much of its fun, catchy nature is relying on something that already worked once before. As a whole, I can't really compare it to any other album that Tom's been a part of because, as far as I'm concerned, this doesn't really qualify as an album. And it's weird, the lines have been blurred because these are demos, but they've been released. And barring any future re-recordings, these will be the final version, technically, therefore making them not demos. But alas, Tom said they're demos. So to me, it's a playlist of demos, and that's why I've referred to it as a release as opposed to an album for the entire video. I have an issue with this release, and it's how and why it was released. Now, before I say what I'm gonna say, I'm aware that this is gonna put a lot of people off because there are those rabid fans out there who really just want new music and merchandise from their favorite musicians, and they don't really care about any details surrounding it. They just want the new, just give me the stuff. These are the adoring people who could be run over 5 times by their favorite musician and still find a way to justify it. Granted, if it were Stevie Wonder, that fan may have some room to argue. But the point is, I'm a fan, not a disciple. So I gotta talk about this snaz that I find a bit troubling. Tom has never been one to be subtle when it comes to self-promotion. And while in the past that's been great for him marketing-wise, I think with this release, I finally got too much of a good thing. Tom's business has overshadowed the music for me this time around. It does not seem like a collection of songs as much as it seems to be a commercial for his new company, To the Stars. I know it doesn't sound good, but if you need more proof, just look at the... Songs Without a Home? Sounds like a title. Demos, Odds and Ends? Sounds like a title, / autobiography, but still a title. But this is exactly what it looks like. The title was there, and then he just plopped the company name right in the middle with big bold letters. It's just in-your-face product placement, just shameless, just look at it right there. There's product placement in movies, but this is like if the casting director cast a Coca-Cola bottle as the main character. It's just there. It's fantastic marketing, but clumsy PR. I think Tom's initial decision to put out these songs came from a human place. I think he was angry at what Mark and Travis had said, probably felt betrayed, who knows what, and then he just felt like, why not get a little bit of revenge, whatever. These songs were gonna be for us, now they're for me. Then I think, of course, he noticed the hype surrounding his next move, and from that moment on, the businessman side guided this idea to fruition. That's what leaves this feeling tainted for me. From what I've heard, what he's doing or planning to do with To the Stars sounds awesome. I can't wait to see what they put out, but I just don't like what the businessman in him is doing to the artist. I'm sure he and a lot of people who are watching this for that matter don't see it this way. To him, he's probably just killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Releasing some music that everybody wants to hear and, hey, just advertising his company a little bit. Who cares? It's not a big deal. But something is happening as a result of his choices. To put it in Breaking Bad business terms, he's diluting the purity of the product. If you can be a businessman and an artist, that's fantastic. But when you start using art as a marketing ploy, it destroys authenticity and really blurs the lines of trust. Because once your fans see it, it can get to the point where you might show up with something to give, and they can't tell if they're getting the artist or the car salesman. I'm a fan of what Tom DeLonge has done before this, and I'm excited to see what he may do in the future. But I can't really support this release or encourage other people to buy it. Not that that's going to hurt the sales whatsoever, but I can't encourage it further because I just don't feel like art was at the forefront of this release. Which is a shame because I really wanted to enjoy this completely, along with all the rest of you in YouTube land. Let's see what happens next. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to prepare for your comments. Something tells me this one's gonna be rough. I've had this helmet since I was 11, meaning my head has always been huge.